Activity 5, exponential function, y equals a times c to the power of bx. The role of parameter b when b is less than 1. The present population of a village is 30,000 inhabitants. Following a flood that destroyed part of the village, it is expected that the number of inhabitants will decrease by 36% every 2 years. A. Complete the table of values. Okay, so we have 30,000. Okay, so 2 years later, we expect it to decrease by 36%. So if we're decreasing by 36% and we started off with 100%, you would expect there to be 64% at the end of each 2 years. 64% of 30,000 is 0.64 of is times 30,000. And so we end up with 19,200. 2 years later, at year 4, we're going to have 64% of 19,200. So 19,200 times 0.64. And we get 12,288. So then they're saying determine the parameter a and the base c of the function y equals a times c to the power of t, where t represents the time elapsed in years since the flood and y is the number of inhabitants. Okay, so y is equal to a times c to the power of t. Here we're talking about 30,000 times 0.64 to the power of t. Now here they're talking about t is the number of years. So if you're talking about 1 year, that is half of a cycle. So we would have to count 2 years as one full cycle. We would have to work it into the t. It becomes a little bit difficult to use. So then it says, write the rule obtained in B in the form y equals a times c. It should say c here. I don't know why they're giving us that it's 0.64. So y equals a times 0.64 to the power of bt. The decrease in population is happening every 2 years. So the period of decrease is every 2 years. So we end up getting y is equal to 30,000 times 0.64 to the 1/2 t. So before, what we would have to do is we would have to make sure any time we're talking about the number of years that we would always have to say that 2 years was one period of decrease. We'd have to represent our 2 years as one, not years, but period. If we're talking about 4 years, that's 2 periods, so we'd put a 2 up here. So t wouldn't really be in years, it would be in 2 years, right? I mean, the units are still years. T being 1 is really a 2-year cycle. We're really counting the number of cycles up here, and it becomes very complicated for that reason. But if we're using BT, it actually works out a lot better. We can say that B is, in a year, how many cycles have we gotten through? Well, we've gotten through a half a cycle, all right? So that's what the B is how many cycles have you gone through in each unit of time. And that's where this formula comes from. So B is 1 over the period. Like, how long is the period? How long does it take to decrease? It takes 2 years, so 1 over 2. D, interpret the role of parameter B. B is the number of decreasing or increasing, like in this case it's decreasing, but it's the number of decreasing or increasing periods per unit of time. And that's it for activity 5. Have a good day.